as Xiao Yin walked towards the gate of space to the ancient realm. Under the boundless blue weather, the grassland undulated like green waves. Suddenly, there was a violent fluctuation in the sky. A huge door of dark space appeared out of thin air, and a group of figures slowly walked out and stepped into this strange and energetic world. Is this the ancient world? The energy of heaven and earth here is so strong. It is more than several times stronger than the outside world. Everyone was amazed. Xiao Yin and his party also walked out of the door of space, their faces showing surprise. Xiao Yin took a deep breath and sighed. The cultivation conditions here are too good, and the efficiency can be at least twice as fast as the outside world. The ancient tribe not only has outstanding cultivation talents, but also has such a blessed land. It is no wonder that it is so strong. His Holiness Tianhua also nodded in agreement. Although the space opened up in this area is small, the energy is concentrated, and the cultivation is twice as effective. However, just as they were talking, there was a muffled sound of thunder in the distant sky, and a large dark cloud came over the top. Xiao Yin narrowed his eyes, and after a while his pupils shrank. That's a flying warship. It turned out that the dark clouds that day were composed of 10 huge warships, surrounded by dark clouds, majestic. It deserves to be an ancient clan, and this handwriting is rare in Zhongzhou. Xiao Yin sighed lightly. The dark clouds stopped above everyone's heads with the power of thunder, and an old voice came. "Guests, please get on the boat." The dark clouds cracked a crack and led directly to the warship. After hesitating for a moment, everyone boarded the warship one after another, and Xiao Yin and the others followed. After boarding the warship, everyone found that the warship was extremely huge, and the Black Annihilation Army soldiers armed with long guns could be seen everywhere on the ship, and the defenses were strict. When everyone entered, the warship started, and the space fluctuated violently. Xiao Yin closed his eyes and sensed, with a look of surprise on his face, it's amazing that this warship can travel through space. At this moment, a burst of laughter came from behind Xiao Yin. This kind of warship was handed down from ancient times by the ancient clan. It is extremely fast, and even the peak powerhouse of Dozuan can't catch up. Xiao Yin looked back and saw that it was a white-robed man with a flame mark on his head. It was the Huoshuan he had seen in the restaurant. Xiao Yin hugged his fist and said, "Thank you for telling me." Huoshuan smiled and said, "You're welcome. My name is Huoshuan, and you are Xiao Yin, the champion of the Danwei. I naturally know you." Xiao Yin smiled slightly. "Brother Huoshuan should be from the Yin clan, right?" Huoshuan nodded. "A long time ago, our two races had a lot of roots. By the way, Brother Xiao Yin came to the ancient world this time. Is it also for the opening of the heavenly tomb?" Xiao Yin was taken aback for a moment, and Huoshuan explained, "The heavenly tomb is a mysterious place left over from ancient times. There are many tombs of the powerful, including the tomb of your ancestor Xiao Xian. Defeating the energy mark in the tomb can absorb them and increase their strength. These marks are equivalent to high-end pills, and the effect is long-lasting. The most important thing is that the passage of time in the heavenly tomb is 5 times slower than that of the outside world, and 5 days is equal to 1 day from the outside world." Xiao Yin was shocked. "This is simply a paradise for cultivators," Huoshuan continued. "However, the heavenly tomb is opened once in 20 years, and each time it stays for up to 3 years, which is equivalent to half a year outside. Moreover, only people from the ancient 8 tribes are eligible to enter, and the Xiao tribe can also enter." Xiao Yan's eyes narrowed slightly, his heart full of expectation. Huoshuan smiled and said, "The rules are like this. Although the Xiao clan is down, they were once one of the 8 clans that, of course, you may encounter some troubles after entering, but you should be able to solve it with your ability." Xiao Yin solemnly held his fists. "Thank you, Brother Huoshuan, for telling me." Huoshuan smiled and said, "You're welcome. Maybe we can still cooperate after entering the heavenly tomb. Some of the other races have grievances with our Yin clan, and it is always good to have one more friend." Xiao Yin nodded. "Understand." The reason why Huoshuan told him this is because he is strong and worthy of making friends. Huoshuan reminded again. You should pay more attention to the people of the Soul Clan and the Medicine Clan. The Soul Clan and the Shao Clan are mortal enemies. When the Shao Clan fell, they couldn't get rid of IT.AS for the Medicine Clan. Because of your teacher Medicine Dust, they definitely don't have a good impression of you. The person sent by the Medicine Clan this time may be Yaxingji, an 8th-grade intermediate pharmacist with good strength that, if you meet him, be careful. Xiaoyan thought to himself. These guys have weird names, and they must be hard to deal with. But he is not afraid. If you really encounter it, let them see even the disciples taught by the abandoned people of the Medicine Clan are stronger than them. I want to make this breath for the teacher. After Huishuan chatted with Xiaoyan for a while, he left. Xiaoyan looked at his back with a trace of deep thought in his eyes. Huishuan was obviously showing him kindness. Perhaps part of the reason for this was because of Xiaoyan's current strength, but the Yin clan, as one of the 8 ancient tribes, had a prominent status, and Huishuan's actions were obviously not simple. This person is not simple. Even I can't see through his strength. He is worthy of being a member of the ancient 8 races, mysterious and unpredictable. His Holiness Tianhua and others also surrounded him, amazed. Xiaoyan nodded slightly. He guessed that Huishuan's strength was at least in the 7-star Dozuan, or even higher. Otherwise, even the 6-star Dozuan, the venerable Tianhua, could not see through his depth. However, Xiaoyan felt in his heart that the woman in red was the most mysterious existence. These ancient races are really not simple characters. But fortunately, Huishuan's behavior at least shows that the Yin clan is still friendly to him. It may take half a day to reach the ancient sacred mountains of the ancient world from here. In these half days, we can only rest on this warship. Let's go. Xiaoyan chuckled and led everyone to the other end of the warship. This warship has a huge area, but its defenses are also extremely strict. Almost every few steps, you can see heavily armed Black Annihilation Army soldiers. This surprised Xiaoyan a little. Just picking up and dropping off guests didn't seem to require such a battle. It seems that the ancient races still don't worry about these people entering the ancient realm. After all, the energy of heaven and earth in the ancient realm is so strong. If you stay here to practice, the effect is far better than the outside world. Some people with ulterior motives might secretly stay and practice. Xiaoyan thought thoughtfully. The ancient clan really does things without leaking. As they gradually moved forward, Xiaoyan and the others came to the vicinity of the bow of the warship. There were few people here, but the defense did not weaken at all. Xiaoyan was about to turn around and leave, but his gaze suddenly stopped at the bow of the boat. A long-haired man in a strong suit was sitting cross-legged, with 2 cups of clear tea on the small wooden table in front of him. Xiaoyan narrowed his eyes, stared at the back, turned around and wanted to leave, but heard a faint laugh. "Friends of the Shao clan, since you are here, please sit down." Xiaoyan paused, turned and walked towards the man, sat opposite him, and asked faintly, "People from the ancient race?" The long-haired man looks ordinary, but he gives people a convincing taste, Zayagasan. Xiaoyan nodded slightly, glanced at the surrounding Black Annihilation Army soldiers, and found that when they looked at Guzhan, they had respect from the heart in their eyes. This kind of respect has never even appeared in the face of the second commander Lin Shun. "The commander of the Black Annihilation Army?" Xiaoyan asked softly. Guzhan paused slightly as he held up the teacup, smiled, and said, "It is worthy of being from a Shao clan. Are you here to wait for me on a special trip and then find face for Lin Quan and others?" Xiaoyan asked quietly. Ji Yuzhen smiled and said, "Those boys have a grumpy temper. If you let them know that there is a sky outside the sky, you can also make them lose some pride, but they didn't dare to let me come forward about the face-saving matter." Xiaoyan stared at Guzhan. This person's calm determination was something he had never seen in the younger generation over the years. That Ji Yuzhen suddenly asked, "Do you know why there's so many Black Annihilation soldiers guarding the warship? Are you worried that these people will stay in the ancient world?" Xiaoyan replied casually, "This is just one of the reasons. There are a large number of ethnic groups in the ancient world. They are the foundation of the ancient races and have a thin bloodline of fighting emperors in their bodies. Although this bloodline is easily covered, once it mutates, they will become the fresh blood of the ancient race. And this chance of mutation is precisely because of the blood of the fighting emperor in his body. Gujan said softly, but this kind of blood is very thin and can easily be covered, as long as it is combined with a foreign race. The ancient races valued the blood of the fighting emperor, so they strictly prevented outsiders from staying so as not to disappear. Gujan paused, looked at Xiao Yin, and said, "Ordinary people are like this, and so are the core members of the ancient race. The ancient clan rules clearly stipulate that you are not allowed to intermarry with foreigners. You should understand what I'm going to say, right?" Xiao Yan's expression was calm. "I know, but it still doesn't work for me. Naturally, I don't expect a few words to dispel your obsession, but you should understand the importance that the ancient clan attaches to the blood of the fighting emperor, so it is difficult to have results between you and the young lady." Gujan slowly put down the teacup and said, "Everything is difficult to retreat, otherwise it will not be good for anyone. This is not a threat. It is a reminder that if you really like the lady, don't drag her down. The current Xiao clan has completely declined." Xiao Yin gently turned the receiving ring on his finger, and then suddenly smiled after a while. "Is the bloodline of the fighting emperor really powerful?" Gujan was taken aback, then smiled and said, "Do you still need to say this? The current ancient races are still tyrannical. This is the best proof." Xiao Yin smiled, wondering if he could continue to ask, "What level does it take to make the ancient clan ignore the bloodline?" "Doshing." Gujan frowned and said slowly, "Then I will reach this level." Xiao Yin said with a smile, "This is not as simple as talking about it. Remember, I'm talking about Doshing, the real Doshing, not the semi-saint." Gujan frowned slightly. "My ancient clan has never lacked the peak powerhouse of Dozuan, but they have tried their best to set foot at that level that I know you have a good talent. But there are people in my ancient clan who are more talented than you, but even so, they don't have the slightest confidence in facing the road to promotion to Doshing. How can you be sure that you can achieve it? Because you are from ancient race, but I am not. You are people who are strong by the blood of the fighting emperor, but I am not." Xiao Yin said with a smile, "As for whether I can reach Doshing, time will tell." The smile on Gujan's face slowly converged, and he stared at Xiao Yan's confident face tightly. After a while, he finally sighed. "If you really have confidence, then I am naturally satisfied. But if you experience the difficulties of entering Doshing in the future, I hope you can leave the lady, because it will not be good for anyone to go on like that. I can walk from the waste of my family to today, relying on never giving up. Facing the Soul Clan, I am not afraid, and the Ancient Clan is the same." Xiao Yin said with a smile. There was a touch of complexity on Gujan's face. The 4 words that he had never given up were simple to say, but not many people could do it. At this moment, the warship suddenly trembled violently. The surrounding space fluctuations gradually dissipated, and the speed of the ship slowed down. Lush mountains in the distance appeared in the field of vision. "Have you reached the ancient holy mountains?" Xiao Yan's heart beat suddenly. His body paused slightly, then suddenly turned his head, his gaze directed at a misty mountain in the distance. There was an ethereal cyan shadow looming. Even if it was far apart, Xiao Yin could still feel a kind of familiarity and longing that went deep into the bone marrow in a distant place. The 4 eyes looked at each other, as if they had solidified together. Gujan slowly got up and looked at the goddess-like noble figure on the mountain peak, with a complicated smile on his face. "For so many years, I am afraid that Xiao Yin is the only one who can let the lady come here to greet her in person. Xiao Yin, among the ancient races, there are great differences about you that if you can really reach Doshing, everything will be fine out if not. I am afraid that I will face many difficulties that, I hope you can do what you said. The lady's vision should not be bad." Gujan said. Xiao Yin nodded silently. From the conversation with Gujan, he could feel how much pressure Sun'er was under in the ancient clan. "No one can stop me from being with Sun'er. Even if it is an ancient clan, that will not work." Under the dark cloud-covered weather, a huge warship slowly stopped over an ancient mountain range. This mountain range is the base camp of the ancient tribe. The strong are like clouds, and the breadth is vast, which makes everyone on the warship secretly marvel an old voice sounded. Invite the distinguished guests of the ancient tribe to disembark. Everyone displayed their stature one after another and flew towards the complex in the middle of the mountain range, which was the reception place of the ancient tribe. However, Xiaoyan stood on the bow of the ship, his eyes locked on Yun Feng in the distance. His Holiness Tianhua and others stood behind him, while the little Dr. Fairy looked into the distance with a trace of complexity in his eyes. Finally, the shadow on Yun Feng moved, and a Tsing-Yi girl came stepping on the clouds, like a fairy coming. It was Sun-Er. Her appearance instantly attracted the attention of everyone on the warship, and everyone was amazed by her refined temperament and charming appearance. A soft smile appeared on Xiaoyan's face, and Sun-Er called softly, "Brother Xiaoyan." Hearing this voice, Xiaoyan felt a warmth in his heart. He gently rubbed Sun-Er's head and said with a smile, "Little Nizi is getting more and more beautiful." The people around were deeply attracted by this scene. Gu Zhen smiled bitterly, while a young man of the Yin clan sighed. It turns out that this kid hooked up with the goddess of the ancient clan. It's no wonder that the people of the ancient clan value him so much. Not far away, a woman in red whispered softly, "The current Xiao clan is no longer the Xiao clan after all." Huishuan smiled slightly and said, "Don't underestimate Xiaoyan. He has gone from an abandoned blood family to the present, and he is by no means comparable to ordinary people." Hearing this, although the people around were a little surprised, they didn't seem to fully believe it. Sun-Er smiled slightly and invited Xiaoyan to the mountains together. Xiaoyan took a deep breath. He knew that Sun-Er had come to pick him up in person to show his determination to some people of the ancient tribe. He took Xiao Yixian and others off the warship and quickly chased Sun-Er. However, at the moment Xiaoyan left the warship, he was keenly aware that more than a dozen powerful glances swept across him, which contained powerful coercion. Xiaoyan snorted coldly, and the blazing flames burst out of the sky in an instant, and the terrifying waves of fire spread around him, causing the surrounding space to burst in an instant. Xiaoyan's figure in the waves of fire was particularly dazzling. He stepped on the flames and suspended high in the sky, his eyes locked on certain places in the mountains. "What a powerful fire!" a woman in red exclaimed, the flame mark on his brows getting hotter and hotter. Xiaoyan's actions caused a sound of surprise in the mountains, and Sun-Er quickly appeared beside Xiaoyan and said coldly, "Several elders. What do you mean?" An old man in a gray robe slowly appeared and explained, "I haven't seen anyone from the Xiao clan for many years, so I wanted to test it on a whim." Sun-Er said coldly, "Where is the etiquette of the ancient race?" A faint voice came from the depths of the mountains. "Let the old man in the gray robe stand down." Sun-Er turned around and asked Xiaoyan with concern if he was okay. Xiaoyan smiled and shook his head. Sun-Er exclaimed, "Brother Xiaoyan, now you should understand why I always delay your time come to the ancient tribe, right?" Xiaoyan smiled slightly. "Let's go. You can't bear these things alone. You have been supporting me for so many years, and it's time for me to carry it." Sun-Er was startled slightly and then smiled. She had delayed Xiaoyan for so many years, and now she finally waited until he grew up. Now he has the ability to fight side by side with her. And on a steep mountain in the distance, a figure stood with his hands in his hands, looking at Xiaoyan and Sun-Er in the sky. A man in a silver robe appeared behind him and said jokingly, "Ancient demon, it seems that Sun-Er has a very good relationship with him. Are you still not going to give up?" The ancient demon said calmly, "He is not from the ancient tribe, and he cannot be with Sun-Er. I will remind him personally." The silver-robed man smiled and said, "What if he insists on not leaving?" The ancient demon raised his eyes lightly and murmured, "Then kill it." After Elder Guqian was drunk back, Sun-Er's gaze swept across the layers of mountains again, and finally stayed on a breeze in the distance, for where he felt a cold and familiar killing intent. "Ancient demon, if you dare to mess around, I will definitely not let you go." Sun-Er's jade hand clenched slightly, and a flash of anger flashed in her eyes. However, she quickly suppressed her inner fluctuations and turned to Xiaoyan, only to find that Xiaoyan's gaze was also locked on the mountain peak. "A very strong person," Xiaoyan said softly. With his keen soul perception, he noticed a dangerous breath, and this breath was obviously aimed at him. Xiao Yin knew that to truly gain a foothold among the ancient races, ordinary methods were not enough. He needed a truly prestigious opponent and must win, otherwise those who had remained neutral might fall to the side against him. And the opponent who meets this requirement is only the top powerhouse of the younger generation of the ancient clan, one of the four commanders of the Black Annihilation Army. Let's go. Xiao Yin retracted his gaze and smiled slightly at Suna. Suna nodded. Her figure moved slightly lightly. Her posture was elegant and moving. Xiao Yin and his party followed closely, facing many gazes, and walked deep into the mountains. On the breeze in the distance, the man with black and white hair looked at the direction of Xiao Yin and the others, leaving with a sneer on his face. It is worthy of being from the Xiao clan, since he wants to challenge you. The man in the silver robe said with a smile. The ancient demon responded lightly. Tomorrow will be the adult ceremony. According to the rules, I can choose my own opponent. For the sake of his courage, I will give him a chance that I asked for sooner. He will understand my approach in the future. The voice fell, and the figure of the ancient demon gradually blurred and finally disappeared. It's really interesting. The ancient clan and the Xiao clan, how many years have the younger generation not played against each other? I'm looking forward to it. Xiao Yin can bring me some surprises. The silver-robed man also said with a smile, and then his figure gradually blurred and disappeared into the breeze. Under the leadership of Sun, Xiao Yin and his party did not go to the reception of the ancient tribe, but came to a bamboo house deep in the mountains. In front of the bamboo room, an old figure was looking at them with a smile. Old Ling Xiao Yin was startled, then smiled and handed over. In less than 10 years, I didn't expect Master Xiao Yin to reach this point. It really made the old man ashamed. Ling Ying sighed with a smile. When he was ordered to protect Xiao Yin secretly, the latter was just a stunned youth who wanted to wash away the humiliation of retiring from marriage. But now, he has grown into a powerful man in Zhongzhou. Let's go in. This is my place of cultivation. Few people usually come. I think Brother Xiao Yin doesn't like to go to other places either. Sun said with a slight smile. Xiao Yin nodded. The environment here is quiet, just in line with his thoughts. The group entered the bamboo room and sat in separate seats. Xiao Yin took the opportunity to introduce the two sides. When Sun learned that Qing Lin had the 3 flower pupils of the blue snake, her face showed surprise. Ling Ying also sighed secretly. Originally, he thought it would take at least 20 years for Xiao Yin to come to the ancient clan, but now Xiao Yan's strength is enough to qualify him to step into the ancient clan. But with Xiao Yan's strength now, Sun can relax a little bit. As early as that year, someone in the clan proposed to bring everyone from the Xiao family back to the ancient world, but fortunately, the opposition of Sun and some elders dispelled those guys' thoughts. Ling Ying continued, but this is only a temporary measure because this kind of proposal is mentioned almost every year. In order to buy time for Xiao Yin, Sun began a long retreat. The ancient races valued blood, and the stronger the power of blood, the higher the right to speak. Over the years, Sun has been in retreat and penance, just to make her status more stable, so as to suppress the resolutions of the clan that are ready to take action against the Xiao family. Simply, she finally succeeded. Now he has a very high status in the ancient clan, and even the elders have to salute when they see him. Ling Ying sighed and said, the old man knows that Master Xiao Yin must have paid a lot of hardships to achieve his current achievements in just 10 years, but the young lady has also paid a lot. The Sun shook her head gently, motioning Ling Ying not to say anything. After listening to this, Xiao Yin held Sun's hand and said softly, you have worked hard for you these years, so I will bear the rest. I will solve the pressure in your family. Sun's cheeks flushed slightly, and a trace of relief surged in her heart. Although she was strong in front of her people, she also had a soft side in her heart. After so many years of hard work, she seemed to be satisfied enough to hear this sentence. Tomorrow is the beginning of the ancient bar mitzvah. According to the rules, the people who participate in the bar mitzvah can choose their opponents and compete against each other. Because you are from the Xiao clan and your relationship with me, you will definitely be in this bar mitzvah. Sun frowned slightly and said, among the younger generations of the ancient clan, 4 of them are extremely powerful, above the 8-star Dozoan, and they are known to be very likely to become the existence of the Black Annihilation King. And among these 4, the one who is most likely to attack you is the ancient demon of Shura Dutong. Xiao Yin nodded slightly, knowing in his heart that this confrontation was an opportunity for him to stand at the intersection of heaven and hell. If it fails, I am afraid that no one in the ancient clan will be optimistic about him anymore. But if the ancient demon fails, the elders of the ancient clan will have no excuse for the matter between him and Sun Er. Therefore, this battle cannot be lost. The night was like water, and the moonlight sprinkled on the ancient sacred mountains, covering the earth with a layer of silver gauze. The temples in the center of the mountain range are brightly lit, and the festive atmosphere of the ancient races is strong. However, on the mountain peaks far from these hustle and bustle, it is peaceful, as if it is the residence of a hermit. A woman in white stood gracefully on the mountain peak, staring at the lights in the distance. Suddenly a soft voice sounded. "Are you still not resting?" The little Dr. Fairy walked out of the forest, and the moonlight fell on her face, which was very moving. The little doctor smiled slightly. "There is no difference between here and the outside world." The little Dr. Fairy walked to her side and sighed softly. The ancient race is strong by blood, but they have carried too much as a result. The pressure here is much greater than that of the outside world. Many people come with hope, but they can only leave with disappointment. That I have seen too many people over the years who have collapsed because of the abandonment of the blood of their children and grandchildren. Sun Er nodded softly. There is always a price to pay for being strong. He turned his head and said to Xiao Yixian, "Thank you for all these years." The little doctor smiled freely. "I'm used to it. I think it's good to be able to help him by his side. Don't talk nonsense. I like the feeling now and don't want to change anything." Sun Er smiled slightly. "But if you don't take the initiative to say it, he may never notice it." The little Dr. Fairy was non-committal and suddenly asked, "I think you should know something else, right?" Sun Er raised her head slightly and looked at the starry sky. "Are you talking about Medusa?" The little doctor sighed. "You really know that with the intelligence capabilities of the ancient race, these things can't be hidden from you. Why are you pretending to know nothing in front of him?" Sun Er smiled slightly. "How could I leave him because of this kind of thing? Others may want to hate him for it, but I know it's impossible. That being the case, why bother to find yourself unhappy?" She looked at Xiao Yixian. "I'm waiting for him to take the initiative to tell me about this kind of thing. Then I can teach him a lesson and let him know that a man with a heart will not end well." The little Dr. Fairy looked at Sun Er and smiled slightly. "You look like a little woman." Sun Er smiled and said, "Well, let's not talk about this. Tomorrow will be the adult ceremony of the ancient tribe. You should rest early. I hope you can always be by his side in the future." The little doctor raised his eyebrows slightly. "What about you?" Sun Er didn't answer, but waved his hand and turned to walk to the bamboo house on the mountainside. The little Dr. Fairy followed up without asking any more questions. The next day, the first ray of morning light fell, and the ancient holy mountains became lively in an instant. Xiao Yin came out of the room and saw that Sun Er and others were already waiting for him, and smiled embarrassedly. Sun Er greeted him, gently helped him organize his clothes, and asked softly, "Have you rested yet?" Xiao Yin nodded and asked, "The adult ceremony is about to begin, right?" Sun Er smiled and said, "Well, let's go." She summoned a snow-white unicorn, and after everyone rode on it, the unicorn fluttered its wings and flew to the palace in the distance. That a few minutes later, the unicorn landed in the heart of the palace. As soon as Xiao Yin and his party came down, the surrounding eyes cast over. Sir led everyone to the seat in the center of the square, but was stopped by 2 warriors dressed in golden armor. "Miss, this area is a special area, and people who are not of our own race and invited guests cannot enter," an old man said. Sun Er's face sank instantly, and he was about to have an attack, when suddenly a familiar curse sounded. "You 2 shameless old guys." Xiao Yin was taken aback for a moment, and recognized that it was the voice of Mang Tian. Jiu Qian and Gu Su were also taken aback. Their expressions slightly changed.